Welcome back to the Like St. Cash podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about me and JK's first business together, that time I found porn on my client's computer, and the Donald Trump Tower story. Let's jump into it.
So if you don't know, guys, we have this little notion. We call it the pod threads. We just write the things we're going to talk about before we start talking about it on the pod, with one thing that Marcos wants to add 5 minutes before the pod. What was your one addition 5 minutes before the pod that you want to cover today? So we can.
Well, let's make it clear. I am much better at transitions. I'm good at transitioning to next topics. JK is really good at planning. This is why we're a good team. I'm not good at planning things, but I'm great at improv. So I just want to point that out here.
Fair enough. Maybe that's why this works.
The one thing I added days ago, why I want JK to move to Miami. So I'm making my elevator pitch. I think JK should move to Miami with me so he could teach me Spanish. So he can then also be my rolling partner in jiu-jitsu. And we can take our daily walks on the beach together and get iced coffee. All right.
Do you want to hold hands?
In Miami.
Like, is that a part of the deal?
Oh, only some days. All right. So, and I want to point this out because maybe someone's listening, and I feel like I went through this, and we both have went through this where we're like, where the hell do we live? Obviously, this depends on where you are in the world. But for me, as someone who lived in America, I will say that Florida is the only place that really checks all of these boxes, right? No state income tax, warm weather, walkable cities, 9 months out of the year when it's not 157 degrees. Walkable cities, hub of business people. It's like a hub for the network. People are always coming in and out for events, so it's better if you have a podcast, etc. And then the last one is the Eastern time zone. So Eastern time zone, everyone knows superior. If you're Pacific, you just wake up 3 hours behind the rest of the world. Like, you're fucked. If you're in Europe, like, Europe's cool, but it's not Eastern, right? Eastern is where the New York Stock Exchange is. Like, the whole world runs on the Eastern 9 to 5. So Eastern is the superior time zone. So those 5 boxes are only checked in Florida. Truly, they only are. So also I'm a little biased because I grew up there, but I will say that it's the only place that checks all 5, which is why I am officially announcing that I'm moving to Florida.
Miami, right?
Most likely Miami, but I'm also looking at Fort Lauderdale on the side just because it's up and coming and it's not Miami. But I'll let you know.
Seems like you already made your choice, man. With that tonality, I kind of get it. It's like,
I like
Miami.
I think, yeah, well, the thing with Miami is, like I said, if you have like a podcast or you're making content, which we both are, it's really a great place to be. Like, people are always in and out of Miami.
Bro, you know what we could do? And this is me saying, you know what? Can you do this, please, Marcus? So can you rent places so you can host cool chats, which is alluded to the podcast? We consider podcast episodes. I wouldn't be there because, in person and then one guy in Zoom, that's lame, right? So you have to have the 2 guys in person.
Yeah, that's awkward. You're like the head on the computer. Have you seen that scene? Have you seen The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Where it's like the Joker.
The Chinese dude.
Yeah, the Chinese dude on the TV. That's good.
I mean, it's on brand.
The guy in the suit on the TV, and then the Joker, and then all the gang members. That would actually be hilarious. We could reenact that.
Who would you be? Would you be Batman or Joker?
I'm the guy that gets his head bashed into the pencil. That guy.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, we could talk about famous stuff. Dude, I've been reading Donald Trump's Art of the Deal. Now, I'm actually reading it this time. It is fascinating. Have you read it?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Yes.
What have you heard?
I've heard the book exists.
Oh, that's it? It is incredible. It is incredible, bro. Like, Trump just has, like, and I think it's ghostwritten too, by the way. So there you go. Point to the ghostwriters. Killing. There you go. Boom. That. There you go.
All right.
Yeah, you happy? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Plug done. Okay, so what's cool about that, bro? Trump just knows how to persuade people, man. And he just has a way of talking. It's like, it's just very funny. It's like, people have always thought of me as a young man, good looking, that's very smart. And I will not disagree. It's just shit like that. He'll waste just paragraphs of it, but it's just so enticing. But Trump had a really cool tactic, which I really liked. When, he was dealing with New York bureaucracy. He wanted to install skating rinks and casinos and Trump Tower. Trump Tower, bro. Trump Tower was like such an ambitious project that he didn't just have to buy the space it was going to be built on. He also had to buy the air rights above it because he wanted to make it so tall. How fucking gangster is that, bro? You have to buy air rights for your tower. Imagine the richest tower.
Air. I own the atmosphere. Like, you know how rich you got to be to own the atmosphere?
He had to go up. It was crazy, man. But one of the things he got really good at was, and this was he didn't mention it, but it was a pattern I saw that I really liked. He used for persuading one person, because things move by one person, maybe the mayor or the contractor or whatever. He used to persuade them with emotion in public, but with logic in private. So let's say he needed rights for this ice skating rink he was going to build. It's called the Wallman rink. The city did a disaster job. Like, they took like years to do it. He got it done in like a few months because they were just incompetent. Now, he made a huge deal about how New York was robbing the citizens of one of the most beautiful skating rinks ever existed. And he said, if there's one thing politicians care about, it's the press. They hate the press if it's bad press, because that means they won't get reelected. So then he would use emotion in public to create that pressure. And then he would go in private and say, no, actually, you actually made a lot of money with this. He rarely used emotion in private. He always used emotion in public to get pressure in. That could be your content, getting people emotional about their problem, getting people to feel like they need to do something about it. And then you convince with logic in private, which is the sales call. No, here's actually the ROI. Here's how much you could get. So it was just a really cool lesson that I got from that book.
I like that. I think that's really applicable to a lot of people and that could be listening to this. It's making content that's more emotional, whether it's story driven or it's an opinion or something like that, and kind of like building the cult tribe. But then your actual sales page or your offer or your sales call is just purely logic. It's just numbers. It's just like makes
and not
sense,
confusing
right?
them, right? Have you seen that a lot? People post very logical things on the timeline. That's not how people make decisions in public. At least if you post an ROI calculator, do it on a sales call. Totally cool.
Yeah.
Don't do it on the timeline. Doesn't work.
Well, it's like what I think I've talked about it on the pod previously, is this idea or notion of effective theatrics. And it's like you see all the great marketers, specifically info marketers, do this effective theatric thing. And I'll give some examples. You have Sam Ovens, he puts on a blue suit and goes to Billionaires Row and has the high-rise New York apartment. He's the first person to do that. And really no one does that anymore still. Probably because it's too expensive for most of these gurus. But he did that. Ooh. You had Ty Lopez with the Lambo in his garage, right? And you have classic Andrew Tate. You have all these people who do effective theatrics, but their actual offer, right? You had consulting.com, you have Hustlers University, you have the SMMA course. These are very logical landing pages that just you show up. It tells you, here's how much I'm going to help you make. Here's how much it costs. This is the logic behind it. And like, you're going to do it. But the actual marketing is so emotional, political, it really gets you going, right? You either love them or hate them. So I think that's a good example.
I have a story on this. So last week I was selling my DMs script, and I wrote up 2 emails. One email was about the logic. Here's how much it costs. It's $100. If you do this, then you'll have a 10x ROI if you charge $1,000 and then whatever, right? Sold maybe 3 copies, 4 copies. But then I sent out an email which was titled, I bought an apartment, parentheses, cash. And then I showed where I moved, some pictures of the apartment, where I've gone, and just the things that money has allowed me to do. And by the way, it all started because I learned how to send DMs to get people on a call so I can sell them. And you can buy my DMs course today, sold like 15, just because of the emotion. And it's like, the trick is going on, but it still works.
I like that. By the way, how is it owning an apartment as a non-owner, as a pleb noob rentor? How is it to like own a piece of property? You're young, so I'm curious. How is that process? And like, do you find that it's a lot different than renting?
I like it a lot. What I love about it is that I can create my safe space. So you're gonna call me fucking weirdo for this, but bro, I have one fork, one spoon, one cup, one plate, one knife,
The Guatemalan Psycho.
one grill thing. It just one. I just have this bottle that I refill, right, for water. I just have one of things, and I just have my space. When I go to dinner, well, I don't go out to dinner. I cook my dinner, but I just have my process, man. I like everything just done right, and that just gives me so much peace. This is the guy that cleans shit, and he just feels warmth in it. I have that safe space. So
Can you?
Sometimes I'll go to my parents' house. I'll chill out with them, but like I don't know. So I get sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to be alone. So having this space, it's like my sanctuary. It's one of the greatest assets of owning a place because I know nobody's gonna come and take it. I don't have to leave at the end of the month. I could just make it my own. Bro, in my room, I installed a pull-up bar in my room. It's awesome. I love it. I also bought these boots that you it's like anti-gravity boots. So they have a hook. So you hang yourself like the Batman, like a bat. So it's like you hold yourself to the thing, and then you're completely upside down, vertical, and you can just feel how your lower back decompresses. I love my house.
Please don't break your neck. Please don't break your neck. I like this podcast. Wait,
People tell me that.
I have a good, if you want to do some effective theatrics, since you seem to be open to ideas since you were able to walk up to a store clerk and ask her for likes. But you should do a reenactment of an American Psycho scene, but and call it the Guatemalan Psycho, and then use that as marketing top of funnel. That would be so good. It would be so good. Like throw on the suit and tie and just like show like your one fork, one spoon, make your bed with an iron, all of that shit.
It's so stupid, bro.
It would work. It would work.
Like I don't have an even amount of pillows. I have uneven amount of pillows. I have 3 because one is for the legs, one is for the arm, and one is for I just have everything just like I want it, and it's beautiful. What else has happened in your business, Mark? Because we can shift from my apartment.
Yeah, biz has been interesting. It's been like it's funny that clip got me thinking. So for context, someone made a clip from this podcast, and it was essentially me talking about how I don't make adjustments when the algorithm, quote unquote, is changing or anything like that. And I think that's something that a lot of people do is they try to change their entire strategy based on the algorithm. And I think that's something maybe we're good at is we don't really, I think part of it is we don't have time to sit there and like change based on the algorithm, but it's just like something I found out. And this is essentially the conclusion of the clip was, if you just make like good content and make a lot of it, you'll be successful no matter what the algorithm is, no matter where you are, what the platform is, etc. So it got me thinking about it, and I was like, you ever say something, but you need to reassure yourself, like you do something and you say something, but after you hear yourself say it and someone else gets your piece of advice, you're like, man, I'm right. Like I got to do 100%. That more often. 100%. Like that's what happened to me there. I was like, I'm right there. Like I really should just not like even if we say it, it's like do as I say, not as I do. It's like it was a good reminder. I was like, yeah, that is what we do, and I'm going to continue to do that more.
No, you were in tech. Did they introduce to you the rubber duck method of solving problems?
No,
bro.
No.
It's kind of stupid, but it was kind of nice. The rubber duck problem is essentially you have a problem, and you take a rubber duck and you put it in front of you. And then you try to talk to him about the problem, and you're trying to solve it with him. Hey, Mr. Rubber Duck, I have this problem. I don't have any leads. What would you do? And then you talk to the rubber duck. It actually helps. Like people at computer science, I was studying computer science in college. People actually did it. And it's just, it goes back to at some point you listen to so many people that you can't hear yourself. At some point you just have to shut everything up and like the answer shows up. Maybe that's what happened to you. Not this morning because you were swarmed with messages, but some other day.
That's funny. I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you saw, but the most recent biography that just came out was Elon Musk's biography, which is obviously a pretty big deal out of like if you think of like the big entrepreneurs, like if any of their biographies comes out, it's like pretty well talked about. So Elon Musk's biography just came out by Walter Isaac. He's done the same. He's done biographies for Ben Franklin, Leonardo da Vinci, obviously Elon Musk, and
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, yes, that was the other famous one, and now Elon Musk. And what he does with these is he essentially just follows them around like all the time. And he interviews like his coworkers and family, and he makes, it's more of a documentary but written. It's a really cool way to do biographies. There's no opinion involved. There's pictures from actual day-to-day life, and it goes all the way up until the acquisition of Twitter. So it's awesome. One of the things that he talks about, and I was just listening to Walter Isaac with Lex Friedman, was talking about how ruthless Elon Musk is with firing. And I wanted to talk about hiring and firing, because you hear the whole hire slow, fire fast, but it's always easier said than done. So I'm curious how you feel about the whole fire fast, and if there's any red flags, like if you were to bring someone on, like what's your red flag? And I know you have some, but what's your red flag for firing fast? And like, do you how fast do you fire? Do you fire fast, and how do you handle it?
I tend to be very forgiving with coworkers. Listen, man, I tend to be very forgiving with people who work closely with me. Customers, clients, coworkers. I tend to be extremely unforgiving with people who don't. Leads, followers. That's just the way I do, because I don't want to waste energy on it. But a few red flags of people, language is a big one. When they go a lot with, what are some words people say that it's just, they try to avoid responsibility. Like they end with, but I don't know though. If they end the advice with, oh, I hate it. I hate it.
Thoughts?
Or like, bro, don't fucking ever ask me for thoughts. The other day, an extremely qualified lead, like in terms of like, we could work with them, sent like, I'm not kidding you, bro. It was like 9 voice notes of 40 seconds each. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if we lose this deal. I'm not listening to any of that shit. Like, it's just not going to happen. That is another red flag. But the biggest one for me is just the number one rule we have when you join Likes and Cash for working with us. It's if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you don't plan on doing it, then don't bring it up. So when people don't do what they said they were going to do, it gets on my nerves. I hate it. But I'm admittedly really bad at firing fast, because I don't know. If you work with me, I don't want to. It's hard for me. How about you?
So I was talking to Julia about this, and I was like, I guess we'll learn, because I feel as though someone like Elon Musk, right? Like nowadays, there was a story where he's like on or off mode. He's like demon mode or like meme mode. There's just like no in between. So he was talking about how he'll go from like he'll walk in and just be like that's like the stupidest idea I've ever heard. It was Elon and Steve Jobs. It's kind of a mixture. And Elon Musk will be like, if you fuck up, he'll just be like pack your things, like you're done. And then there's like a minute later, he'll switch to like, but look at this meme. It's just like really funny. But I feel as though that was built up over time, right? Like he built Zip2, PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, right? Like all of these companies, like I feel like after a certain point, like you just start to get fed up and you know the red flags. You're like, that guy's not going to work by, right? Like it's hard. We're 22 and 25. Like we're not going to be able to be like, I've seen that for the last $5 billion companies I've built. So I know. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's an acquired muscle. What do you think?
I also have a kind of this mental model, bro. I gave him my reason, like my need to be right 100% of the time. I used to be so into conspiracy theories, bro. And I'm not going to get into that because we're going to get fucking canceled in episode 19. But so many. And at some point I thought, bro, it doesn't matter. I don't care if the government's trying to kill me. I'm not that important. So it doesn't matter. So I have these mental models. Maybe they're wrong, but they serve me really well, because I believe it doesn't need to be true for you to serve you. So one of them, which I've discussed in the pod, is I believe that if you're a loser, you die a loser. If you're a winner, you die a winner. So if I just get loser vibes from people, I just really cut them. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not, and I'm not like a huge success case study, right? Whatever. But it's, if I get loser vibes from people, I'm just like, yeah, this is not gonna work. Like I trust my gut a lot on that one. So if I see it in a team member, to me it's like, admittedly I could get better at this. I kind of believe they are incompetent, so I stop giving them tasks because I just assume they're gonna fuck it up. So I'd rather hire 2 people so they could do it, and then the other one's like eventually gonna die by death of 1,000 cuts. It's a bad move. I need to get better at this.
I kind of what you said resonated with me was a belief doesn't need to be true to what do you say, to affect you, to be useful. That's so true. That's like placebo 101. Like for you, it's like it's like there doesn't need to be a scientific fact for having one spoon, one plate, one fork that like increase. But if it works for you, like it's true. Like it helps you. It doesn't need to be science. I thought that was interesting because I like that a lot. Also,
how do you fire fast? Because I feel you're a compassionate guy, man. Like well, I fucked it up with you a few times, and you've always been like, "It's cool, don't worry about it."
Yeah. Well, well, for me, it's like it's two things. Like for my team, I've been very fortunate. I've never really had to fire. I got lucky on my first swing, so I'm like batting 100 on my team. So I'm sure it'll come one day, but right now I just haven't even had to. Maybe I'm good at hiring, and that's why I don't have to fire. But I'm batting 100. That being said, for clients, I always recommend fire fast because I can see, like, if it's a setter or a closer or something like that, I can see pretty fast if they're not going to work based on like response time, mindset, like how needy are they. Like typically, I like when people ask questions in those lower level roles like setters and closers, because it means that they're willing to learn fast. But I think lower, like if there's slow response time, or they don't have any initiative, it's pretty fast. Like you're realizing like we're in the market for a new one already. So I usually recommend clients to fire fast in the sales roles, but for my team specifically, I haven't had that problem, thank God.
That's a good sign when they ask questions and they're really curious about the process and they want to get better. Mm-hmm. It's because, I don't know, it kind of shows that they're not afraid of you, which is what you want. You want them to be like really like, if you're fucking up, they'll tell you. Which is actually quite nice when a team member does that.
Which I find it, nice. I wonder, I'm guessing at like a higher level, it's so different, which is maybe it's an acquired skill. Because I imagine like if Elon Musk were to hire a CEO, like does he want her to ask him questions all the time? I don't know. Like he hired Linda, I don't know the last name, I don't want to butcher it, starts with a Y, Yasserino, as the CEO of X. Like I wonder if he's like, ask as many questions as you want. I just can't imagine that he'll say that. So I'm like, maybe he hires someone that's just like perfect, but like, I don't know. How do you relinquish control while still, having your questions asked so that you can make the right decision? That would be interesting. I don't know.
Also, you're disagreeing with Elon fucking Musk, so it's like, it's going to get to some void.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit. This reminds me of a Brute the Force tweet. So regardless of what you think of the guy, I think he has one really good tweet, which is the key to like going on in life, something like that. It's treating people below you like they're royalty, but treating people above you like they're trash. I love that. I think it's awesome. Have you ever watched what's this movie called? It's French. It's this guy on a wheelchair. Untouchables. Have you ever watched Untouchables?
No.
Bro, it's this guy that's like, he can't move anything from the neck down. But he's like super rich. Everybody treats him well. But then there comes this guy that takes care of him. Bro, he doesn't give a shit. He'll like tease him, like joke around with him, just like be like just kind of a homie, but it's like sometimes he goes a little too far. And the billionaire loves it. He adores it. He loves that he treats him just as one of the boys. And what I found is that when people are like above you, if you're like, don't treat them like trash, you know what I mean? But it's like, you show that you're not afraid of them. And you show that they're not above you. Because there's other metrics to life than whatever they're measuring themselves as. They love it. And they're intrigued by you. And they want more of you. So that's something I learned.
I like that. I think that's interesting. I also think just like if you're talking to someone quote unquote above you, like as soon as you fanboy or something like that, it just lowers your authority and it makes the dynamic of the conversation so different. Like the dynamic of a conversation when you're just like talking to a bro, or if you're talking to like a fan, can you imagine how different that would be? It's just like, it's human psychology.
You've met some famous people. Can we talk about this yet?
No.
Fuck. Okay.
We could talk about the point.
Okay, you've met some famous people.
Yeah.
How did you... Everybody listening to this pod would know that person. How did you have that conversation as in, boom, they appear, they face-to-face. How do you go about it?
Honestly, it was like, so it was interesting since there was a team involved. It was just like, it was very much like getting put through a portal by like a team, and then you're like, you are now talking to the person. It was just like so funny. But when you were there, it was just like so. I will say it was very natural. Like it wasn't as daunting as I thought it would be. Like it was very much just like show up and talk and just like, hey, and it was interesting. It was like almost like the person in the driver's seat, if they make it natural, it's natural. Whereas if they didn't make it natural, it wouldn't be. So I think it's very much up to the person. Like for me, showing up, like that person was very welcoming and it just treated it like a normal conversation. So for me, it was easy to mend to that situation. Like I'm pretty good at reading the room. So I read the room pretty fast and I was like, this is just a normal conversation. But if it was going to be like a formal thing where it was not like that, I probably would have folded a little bit and been like not normal and very, very political or very formal. So I thought it was interesting. I think
It's the guy.
yeah. So I was like, no, but when I got there, it was very normal. And it was also 1:45 in the morning in Bali. So I was just like so relaxed because I was so tired that I didn't even have like the energy to be nervous. Like it was 1:45 a.m. I stayed up in the middle of the night for it. So I was just like, I kind of wanted to just like do it and not really think about it. I didn't have any other energy. So I think that was part of it.
There you go. Bro, speaking of that, of like you had to go through certain levels to get to that person, that's effective theatrics. I did that hard first, at the beginning of the year. Like sometimes we would have to schedule onboarding calls. And it was late. It was like 4 p.m. here. For Julia, my assistant, that's midnight at that point, right? So like, fuck, like she's sleeping, she cannot set it up. So I'm like, because I created the @JKMolina email, right? So I would go in and log in to julia@jkmolina.com and send an email from her email. Hey, I'm JK's assistant. I'll take care from you right now. Which times work for you? And then he'll respond. And then I would book it from that email into mine just to like appear high status, just that effective theatrics. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that comes from Trump as well. A little showmanship goes a long way.
I like it. Have you been, I feel like you've been deep diving in a lot of biographies, non-fictions and stuff like that. How's that been going? I know
It's awesome.
New one.
Dude, I enjoy it a lot. Like I feel the things I really like, it's autobiographies, even if the person is not incredibly remarkable. Here's why, because, and I actually wanted to ask you about Walter Isaacson, because Elon didn't write it. Walter wrote it. So it's like some things were going through Elon's mind that Walter couldn't never have guessed. So right now I'm reading the Trump autobiography, which is quite nice, right? And I'm reading this random book, Confessions of a Yakuza, which is this guy in Japan, and that wasn't the Yakuza,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows him, but it's so interesting to see how he thought about things because it is him. So am I a fan of autobiographies? 100%, because then you can see how people think, and it's quite easy to read. I don't like reading so much nonfiction. It's so boring. Like sitting down to read. I'm looking at my library right now, things that I have not read. The Rational Optimist. I'm not reading that shit. It's so boring. Like, dude, no.
Yeah, I don't like those either.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, I'm not reading that shit, So it's like, but I'm reading Confessions of a Yakuza. That's interesting because I feel like I'm a big fan of autobiographies, not a fan of biographies, because then the person who wrote it is not the person you were talking about, which will limit the perspective of the person.
Yeah, I think there's like a tier list for me. I think the top one is like the autobiography memoir. Like I read Stephen King's memoir, and that was really good. Those are all really good. I think slightly under that is probably ghostwritten memoirs and autobiography, or not autobiography, ghostwritten memoirs, like David Goggins, Shoe Dog, Phil Knight. A lot of them are like that. Those are more so just the fact that they just don't want to fucking write it. They're just who don't want to do it, or they're not capable. Those are really good still, because they're usually talking to the person and asking them what they're thinking. But obviously, it's never in the moment, right? I think the next one, and this is one that there's not many like this, but Walter Isaacson, when he did Ben Franklin's, Ben Franklin's was actually, since he's not alive, he wasn't able to go interview him. Ben Franklin used to write letters to himself and journal entries like every day, like tons of pages every day. So he has like thousands of pages of notes of what he was thinking in that moment. So I would actually put that as 1 or 2C or 2B next to the ghostwritten ones, because that's actually what he was thinking recorded back in time. Like, that's amazing. That's probably better than interviewing someone.
That's the real Twitter. He understood Twitter way before his time. That guy gets it.
Yeah, and yeah, Ben Franklin was, they said he was the kind of guy who would light up the room. He always wanted to be friends with everybody. He was super nice. So I thought
what's your favorite one?
My favorite is still Shoe Dog. That's probably the reason it's probably Shoe Dog. I'm probably biased because I grew up on Nike. My grandma worked at Nike for 20 years. She retired through Nike, and we actually have a family lifetime discount. So I could go to Nike anytime and get a family discount for life. So
how much?
I have an affinity. It's like 20%, 20 or 30%.
Oh, we're moving to Miami, boys. I'm getting my Jordan.
I used to go Black Friday every year and go to Nike and get the double discount. Oh, it was awesome.
All right. Well,
yeah. And then next down that list is obviously regular biographies. But when you said like the nonfiction, I agree. I can't read like Four Agreements and stuff like that. Like stuff that's talking at me, I can't really read well. I just get bored. I'm like, unless it's like by fucking someone that I like really admire. Like if I really admire someone that's telling me something, it's almost like getting advice from someone that that does what I've done, right? Like that's interesting to me. But there's a tier where it's like, if I think of 4 Hour Work Week or like Crushing It by Gary Vee, they're nonfiction books that have a point, but they're actually written in chapters of stories. So for Crushing It and 4 Hour Work Week respectively, they tell stories of people that are crushing it, or of people that built personal brands, or of people that built like 4 Hour Work Week businesses. And it's multiple stories of many different, it's like case studies. So those are pretty cool for nonfiction, but I don't like the ones that are people just talking at me.
It'd be interesting to get those as case study templates for your own thing. Amen. It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah. The alpha just dropped, boys.
Like saying Cash book idea is Crushing It 4 Hour Work Week style. It's just like 10 to 20 page case studies of people who turned likes into cash.
I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. The cool thing about case studies, and you do it really well, is you don't teach people what to do, you teach people what to want. And I think you're really good at that. People, when they read your case study, they're not like, I want to try it. They're like, I want this. So
yeah.
Get your stuff. So that's, I think, I can't do it. I feel like I'm so secretive here. I can't talk about the person you had a pod with. I got to talk about some of the clients you work with, obviously.
Agency life.
Yeah, but I'm like, I know I've seen some of the work, and it's actually quite impressive. It's nice.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Another thing that case studies are good for, and I think this is like a practical thing that you should do with case studies, and this is what's done well on like 4 Hour Work Week and Crushing It, but also for case studies, is you don't just make it so that they want it. You make it so that they can picture themselves in the shoes of that person, so they can draw parallels to themselves. So like, for example, right, if I'm reading Crushing It and he's talking about a 38-year-old mom, stay-at-home mom who created a blog with 2 hours a week and is making $5K a month and is able to spend all their time with the kids, right? If I have kids, I can now draw that parallel and be like, well, I have like 5 hours a week. If she's able to do it 2 hours a week, then I could do that. And I could make a blog about this thing that I like, right? You're drawing parallels to yourself as you read these case studies. So if your case study if you can draw a picture and have the reader put themselves in the shoes of the subject, then your case study will do way better.
Dude, I love that you said that, because right 1 hour before, I was on a call with JK, not me, but James Kemp, and on the weekly call, he said that he used to work with Hyundai in New Zealand, and he said that around 83% of the people who went for a test drive bought the car. So Hyundai made a really interesting, analysis on that, which is, let's just get more fucking test drives and sell more cars. So he said something that I thought was so good on that call. He said, your case studies should be like a test drive. You make the person get as close to your service as possible so they can test it and see how it feels. And then when it's over, it's really uncomfortable. It's painful, because then they want to try it. So your case studies are not like, do this. It's like, try this with us. Like, come to this journey, put it on, walk them through it, and then they want to do it.
I just had the best idea for you. Did you ever do that quiz idea with the flat tires?
It's on my post booking page. So yeah.
If your landing page was like the main landing page, it was go for a test drive, and it was like you answer the quiz, and then it diagnoses your business, and then it gives them like an actionable tip. That would be fucking baller. And the car is a like saying cash, like decaled car. It's like a Tesla with like saying cash all over. That'd be a baller ass website, and I want you to do it.
That's a quiz funnel. That's a lead magnet.
Unreal. Like the whole landing page should be that, where it's like go for a test drive, and then like diagnose them with which wheel is a problem, or maybe it's the engine. And then at the end you give them the solution. And then at the end it's like you can try and implement this for free, but if you want some help, book a call. Be fucking sick.
There you go. Now we're talking. Well,
That's
dude, you crush it. I love that, bro. Tanner did something like that. The style coach. Is your style more rugged, rakish, or whatever, right? So XYZ style. He asks you a bunch of questions. Do you want to know what your perfect style is? Enter your email and I'll send it to you. Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah, something like that, where it's like, it doesn't even, yeah, something like that, where they have to put in their contact information, name, phone number, email. You diagnose them. You obviously email them the results, but you on the landing page is just boom, it gives them the results as well, just like of the answer. And then it also has the call to action. The calendar doesn't pop up until they finish the quiz. It's like, by the way, book a call. Your lead quality, but like you're so hot, the close rate on that, because you're giving them a free solution before they even book the call. You're like, here you go. By the way, if you want help implementations, give away the sauce. If you want the implementation, book a call. Be really good.
Dude, there you go. Now we're talking. All right,
now we're talking.
And dude, how can we forget this, guys? We did business together with Marcos. First business we've done.
Yeah. Best ads of all time. Wait, have you seen the website?
No.
I already.
What is it?
Adsofalltime.com. I've already
got that one.
I've already connected the domain. I've already connected the website for Beehive. I got a baller landing page with a cool ass Coke transparency background. It's clean, right? It's so clean.
Nice.
Already copped the TikTok handle. Already copped the Instagram handle. We're ready. We're balling out. And I've already got my
was made on the.
Yep, I already got my assistant on research. Yeah, we made an under the table deal. It's essentially I'd call it a merger. It's a merger. It's not really an acquisition. It's a merger. But we're going to ball out on that company. That's going to be a very much like a build in public, but build in podcast. Ooh, new name. Build on podcast business is bestadsofalltime.com. Go subscribe. It's stealth launched.
Dude, this is awesome. This deal was made on the pod.
Yeah.
Remember?
It was.
Yeah.
I begged. I just want to tell the story. The first time we talked about it, I gave the business idea. You were like, good idea. The second time I reached out, he's like, I think I'm going to keep it. And then what happened is I really used like tactic on you. I went to the page and I was like, he hasn't posted in a week. And then he goes, oh, I'm having her post now. And then I think it was the second or the third time you hadn't posted in another 3 or 4 days. And you're like, all right, let's do it. But I don't want to have to actually do anything.
That's right.
So can we tell them the structure?
Of the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I take 10% profits and 10% on sale.
Yeah, so we're gonna exit it for $1 bajillion. I'm gonna sell it to Elon Musk himself. No,
that's right. That's right.
It's gonna be really good.
There's a bunch of things you could do. The newsletter, you know, this guy Harry Dry, Good Marketing HQ, something like that.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. He does something similar. You could, ask him. Anyway, you do your thing, man. I'm entering my Buffett arc.
You're officially
for 5 hours a day.
You one exit, one angel investment, one company. You're officially a private equity firm.
I'm officially in the arena, bitch.
I'm in the arena trying shit.
Trying things. Some things will work, but everything works with me, bro. I got the magic touch.
Oh man, this is so funny. But so it's funny because I'm finally acting on what I had mentioned maybe like 10 episodes ago, which is the whole like theme page model. This is very much like an experiment to try that model that I had pointed out a long time ago, kind of like the culture critic, history video model that I've seen work insanely well on X, but also turning it into and having some enterprise value with the newsletter and figuring out a different.
Yeah, what's the plan? How are you gonna make money with this? You have a theme page. It's like 40K followers. How are you gonna?
Yeah. Step one is continue to build audience on, and step two. Well, that was step one. Step two is really distribute to multiple platforms. Step three, build newsletter / website. Step four, monetize in secret way that I haven't actually thought of yet. But if you have any
so
ideas,
secret, you don't.
I thought of ways. Yeah, it's already monetized. We just haven't gotten there yet. It's in the future. I have some ideas, but I haven't brought them to life yet. But we got the foundation set, so I'm excited for it. Honestly, the landing page is so baller, it got me excited.
It's just the little tangible things. See,
yeah, it's the little things. So it'll be cool. Yeah. It's funny because God.
You're manifesting it. Like, even though you don't need, you're manifesting the monetization. You may not read the 4 agreements, but you damn sure read the secret, motherfucker.
Well, it's like, there's so many ways we can do it. Like, obviously we can monetize sponsorship, monetize affiliates. Like, those are the basic ones. But there's other ways that could potentially monetize. I'm just figuring them out. I've had some ideas.
Yeah, it's a good move. You know, one thing that actually this contradicts my point that I wanted to talk about. So there's this guy on YouTube. If I get flagged for this, I guess good publicity. Bad publicity is still publicity. This guy, Evan Carmichael, this guy, he will collect interviews from top 10 Jeff Bezos' rules of success, for example, and he'll post those videos. It's the ones on YouTube that have like black and orange font. You've seen them 100%. Anyway, but then he released his own book, right? I don't know much of the details, but I'm like, bro, you're just copying and pasting from these guys. Like, no, I don't want you to listen to you. I want to listen to them. So to me, it was like, when I see those kind of content, bro, when I see on Twitter, I'm a content curator, I'm just go like, incompetent or broke. Sorry. I just think that immediately. I'm like, no, you're just copy pasting stuff. Here are the top 10 threads of Justin Walsh's stuff. You're fishing for a Justin Walsh retweet. Let's just be honest on this. Like, come on. So I don't know. I don't respect that.
Yeah. See, for me, it's like, why build it with your name if you're going to build, this is where I'm like, you're building a theme page. Just call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? Don't call yourself a content curator. Just be a content curator and create a brand around it, right? Like, which is okay. You know, we're not the best ads of all time. It's not like JK Molina 2, the ad curator. You know what I mean? Like, It's it is what you get. You go here for the best ads of all time. We're not saying like I'm a curator of ads, right? Like, I don't really think that resonates with anybody. I think people follow these pages because they know what they're going to get. Like, you follow history vids for history vids, right? Like, you don't follow JK Marcos for the curator of history vids. Like, that doesn't really work for me. So I like that. And I also think it's just like, you're not going to be able to monetize correctly.
It says here on ChatGPT, Evan, when he was 19, he built and sold a software biotech company. Jesus. At 22, he became a venture capitalist who assisted the raise of 15 mil. And he makes nowadays $460,000 a year from his YouTube channel through sponsorship deals and ad revenue.
Do you use ChatGPT like Google?
Bing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's Bing AI. Yeah, that was really good. That one, I feel like that's better than ChatGPT.
I've never used it.
Oh, it's cool because it can look up stuff. I've used it for. I can't talk about this here. I've used it for stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
But it's just yeah. Thanks. If you really, this is the value you came here, boys. You came here for. But it's just really useful because you know how ChatGPT tells you stuff like, I'm only until September 2021. I don't have anything above that. I'm sorry. Bing AI, he's the Chad brother of ChatGPT. He will say, you need information that was posted yesterday? I got you. So it'll look up the web and come up with answers for you. It's way better.
Is that like Google? Is that like if you just go to bing.com and press search, it'll automatically do that? Or do I have to go to a different website?
I think you have to go to Edge.
I wish
Microsoft Edge, which we are on anyway. So that's two reasons now to have it.
Here's my $1 billion idea, which you could take for free at Google. I feel like you should be able to go to google.com and there should be right next to the little search button should have an AI button, and I could just Google Bard it instead of Google search it and just have the opportunity to just like switch back and forth seamlessly between search and AI. Don't you feel like that should be like an option? So I don't have to, I've never even used Google Bard. Like, you would onboard me so much faster because I Google everything if I could just click AI. Do you know what I mean?
Have you used it, Google Bard?
No, I just assume every AI is the same as ChatGPT.
Yeah, I've never used it. Bing is exceptional though, so I do recommend that one. It's actually quite nice.
Here's interesting. This is my prediction. I feel like Apple, you know how when you look at like on the keyboard, you enter everything, right? When you search. I feel like there's going to be an AI button one of these days where instead of search, you just AI it and it just pops up right on your screen and you can AI anything. I feel like that's going to happen.
It exists. It's cool. So yeah, you know how when you press Command Space, you get Spotlight. You use that?
No.
Anyway, like try it. Are you on a Mac?
Yes.
So you press Command Space and then you look up Slack or whatever, and then it will open Slack.
Okay.
So Lucas actually showed me this. You can integrate Bing AI with this so that you go Command Search and that's your AI button. That's what you're talking about. You can't do it here, but you can integrate it. I don't know how to do it.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
Google it. Or Bing it now. Oh, there you go. Dude,
the biggest drawback of AI for me so far is that it doesn't integrate into my workflow. Because we've been working online for a decade almost, right? Like it's hard for me to add new things to my like actual workflow, typing, clicking, opening my tabs. Like for me, it's not seamless to just open. Every day I open my Warm app, which is like my to-do list. I open my calendar, it's where my calls are, and I open up Twitter like right away. But if I were to have that with if I were to just be able to integrate normal ChatGPT into my Google searches, because everything I search, I just Google it real quick. So I think that's interesting. That's something that I might actually add into my workflow because that's my biggest drawback with AI. It's just not muscle memory yet.
Let's talk about the little plugins we have in our computer that make our life better. I need to talk about, bro. I have a few. I have some games.
Go first.
Yeah. So we're gonna rank them. So the least powerful, I have maybe Loom. Loom is just excellent. But everybody knows about Loom, so I'll leave that. The second one is I got copy. Well, actually no. Third one, it's called 1Password. So the number one password, it just stores everything. I don't even know my password. I wrote it in a paper and I have it stored somewhere. So that's quite useful, right? I know that everything's safe, so that's quite nice. And then it integrates with Safari and shit. Really good. In case you get hacked. There's a website in which you can look up leaked passwords. And if you look up your email, they tell you, hey, by the way, Canva leaked your password in 2017. It's like, oh, right.
Jeez.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But this helps with that. Okay, 2. It's copy clipboard. So you know how you need to, the copy paste function, you can only copy paste one thing at once. You can only copy one thing at once. Copy clipboard makes your clipboard 20 things. So you can copy many things and just, spread them around. So you're working with a bunch of links or a bunch of text you want to move around. That's super good. The best one though. Are you ready for this? This is the best plugin ever. Nobody. This is the best thing ever. So, when was the last time you used a Windows computer?
April.
Oh. Okay. Well, how about when you? Okay, so on Mac, if you want to change between tabs, you go Command Tab. So if you press it now, you go to whatever else you have open. The other things, like you have OnlyFans open, you have Pornhub open, so you will switch between those, which I can see on your screen, right? But the cool thing about this one, it's called exactly that. It's called Alt, A-L-T, Tab, T-A-B. It will, because when you press Command Tab, you can only see the icon. It's like Chrome, Slack. But when you do Alt Tab in Windows, you actually don't just see the app, you see the many windows of the app that you have open. So right now, if you open a new window in Chrome, you won't be able to switch between those two without tab. It's actually quite annoying. But with this, you can. So it works like the Windows Alt tab, not like the Mac Alt tab. I can see your face and you're like, what's this fucking nerd talking about? Trust me, this is a big deal. It's a huge add-on to your business. Do it.
Well, you know what's interesting is when I was in the military is we learned, so I'm like pretty proficient on Windows because of this, is everything's on Windows in the Army. I don't know if am I gonna get arrested. But they teach you to learn all the shortcuts, like the Windows tab is their Command S, Command Snap, and all the things to open up all the bars. But they say if you learn all the shortcuts and you can do everything with the shortcuts in front of the commander, you'll look like you know what you're doing. So I learned all of the shortcuts on Windows because I could snap from everything and not have to actually move to the mouse, and it made me look so much faster. So the commanders just assume that we know what we're doing. That's just bullshit better. So that's what I learned on like year one when I was in IT. But yeah,
That's some valuable lessons, bro. Bro, I'll tell you one quick story on that one. So I don't know how to play the piano, but I do know how to play Sadness and Sorrow from Naruto Shippuden on the piano. So I know how to play Sadness and Sorrow on the piano. I don't know any other key. I don't distinguish do from mi. I don't know. But I know how to play that because I learned it from a YouTube video. I do the same thing you did in the Army. When there's a piano, bro, I'll go there. Muscle memory still stays.
I know piano.
I'll play it. And then it's like, oh my God, he plays so nice. I'm like, I don't play the piano. I play Sadness and Sorrow on the piano. That's all I know.
Oh, give us another song. Oh, no. I'm done.
That's too much.
I actually always wanted to teach myself piano because it's just like one of those like party skills where it's like, oh, you know piano? Like you're the life of the party.
What is one skill that you kind of regret not learning?
Spanish. What about you?
I was going to say Korean. Bro, what the fuck?
I feel like if you know an Asian language, you sound so sophisticated in the Western Hemisphere. It's just like, you know Korean or like, you know Chinese or Japanese. It's because it's not like, I don't know, what do they call them? The Latin languages? They're all similar, like Spanish and Portuguese and French. They all have like similar, but if you know an Asian language, you're like, whoa, like that's not even close. You know what I mean? So it's always more impressive.
Yeah. But I know how to read and write Korean, but I don't know what it says.
By the way, you pretty much have the same shortcuts as me. I use LastPass, not one password. I will add two. Adblock. I use Adblock like it's my job. Like I block everything. And then I have this one is Superhuman, which is my email. It's how I go through my emails. So Superhuman, $30 a month is amazing. You just click the shortcut and it opens up your Superhuman and everything is shortcutted. So tab gets you through all the different inboxes of your email. Control 1 is my first email. Control 2 is my first business email. Control 3 is my third business email. It's so short. Superhuman is my life hack, and I highly recommend it, especially if you have...
So you have like all your personal emails and work emails on that?
Yep. Control 1 is my personal. Control 2 is my first business, and Control 3 is my second business email.
That's nice. I'll end that with a story. Because we're wrapping up, but I'll end it with a story. One time, because of the personal email thing, it reminded me. I had a client. He's like, I was telling him whatever, and he's like, okay, I'm in. I'm like, okay, what email do I send the invoice to? He's like, don't laugh. I'm like, no, bro, of course not. Like, you're my client. No, seriously, don't laugh. I'm like, hey, what's your email? He's like, dabeast778@hotmail.com. I'm like, I laughed.
I have a crazy story that I'll leave it. This is the last one, and if you stay to the end, you get this bonus story. It's fucking insane. I was on a call with a prospect. God, bro. I was on a call with a prospect, and it was a consulting call. And he goes to pull something up, like a Google Doc. He opens a Google Drive, and it's just all like sex tapes. It was all sex tapes. I don't know if it was him and his wife, or if it was like just like porn, but I swear to God, he opened up a Google Drive. It was all, I had to act like I didn't know what's going on. I was like, yeah, you getting it up? Your screen's not sharing.
I mean, he was sure getting it up. I could tell you that.
The awkward silence sent me to the fucking Eastern Hemisphere. It was so awkward. I had to act like nothing happened for the rest of the call. It was like a 30-40 minute call, and I was just like, oh man.
How did he react though?
He was just like, oop. Just stabbed. I was like, all right. I just had to act like nothing happened. It was the most awkward situation of my life. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here, but let's get to the consulting. Anyways, that's the pod.
Welcome to the Lexi Cash podcast, boys. Goodbye.